That's so annoying. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Say You Think You're Iconic, where we watch movies where Mark Wahlberg whispers 90% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was a very quiet movie.
Very. I had the volume up to like 35 and I still couldn't hear him. So
Yeah.
subtitles had to be on.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to watch I watched it on my laptop and I started it out without my earphones and I had to put earphones on and subtitles because it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I had to. Usually we don't talk about the movies beforehand. I had to tell
Yeah.
her. I was like, you need
Yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But we'll talk about that later.
There we
How
go.
was your week, Kelly?
It was very busy. I had 3 days of interviews. Um One of them was very interesting. The other two went pretty well.
Tell the people why it was interesting.
So, my last interview this week was a working interview. And what that means is that basically, when you go to your interview, they give you simple tasks to do that would be part of your job description. But when I got to mine, the only working thing I did was take paperwork from the front desk to a woman in her office, and that's about it. The rest of the
Seems easy
time,
enough for me.
yeah, right, right. The rest of the time, I was being told the laundry list of things that I would be doing, and then meeting I don't know, maybe like 50% of the people in that office. It's kind of a small office, but still. And even then, it was kind of awkward to meet everybody because they're like, yeah, either I'm really busy or I'm just going to work on this and leave. So I've got like 2 minutes to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Wow, what kind of office was this?
Yeah, it was pretty unorganized and I felt kind of awkward the whole time, but yeah,
Hmm. Anything
that's how that
else?
went.
Anything else happened this week that was memorable?
uh no.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about my week. So started out okay, going to work. Had an interview on Wednesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? Don't remember. They had me take an online assessment stuff. I passed
Oh,
everything.
that was
So
Wednesday.
Wednesday, cool. So I have a final interview on Thursday. Can't wait. Hope I get
Yay.
it. It's good pay. So really hope I
Yes.
get it. And then yeah, and then I was supposed to have an interview on Friday and they ghosted me. And it was a first interview too. And they ghosted me. So that's
Yay.
fine. And then yesterday, me and our friend Leslie went jogging and oh goodness, this is what happens when I exercise. So
Yep.
went jogging about a half a mile into it. My foot like went off of like a little curve and thought I just simply twisted my ankle. It hurt, but I was able to like walk it off.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, but I was also pretty sure I heard a sound
Ooh.
when but I had my headphones on. So I was like, maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm walking, so I'm fine. And so we walked back to her house. We went to go get coffee and stuff. Dropped her back off at her house. And then I go to my aunt's house who lives like a mile away. And I start like doing stuff. Like I get my car washed, I start doing some laundry that I brought over. I was like, cool, cool, cool. And then I'm in the house and I'm laying down and I'm like icing my foot and then I get up and I'm like, I can't walk. Like I
Yeah.
literally cannot walk. And then so my aunt's like, "Oh." And she was like, "Oh, and your foot's getting more swollen." And I was like, What?" And she was like, "Do you think you might have broke it?" And I was like, "No, there's
Oh,
no there's
no.
there's no way I
Yeah.
broke it." And so I googled the difference between a broken foot and a like sprained foot, and I was seeing a lot more similarities with a broken foot. And I was
Yikes.
like, "Oh no." And then so she was like, let's go to urgent care. And I was like, cool. There's one like 2 minutes away. Yay, Kaiser.
Yay.
So we get there, and the woman who like pre-scans people to see if they have like, I don't know, a fever, even though most people don't get a fever with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why they still do that. So she was like, "Do you have an appointment?" And we looked at each other like, "For urgent care?"
Right.
And
For an emergency?
she was like, "Yeah, you need to have an appointment." And I was like, "You have to be kidding me." So
Wow.
I had to make an appointment for an hour later.
Wow.
And then so we came back an hour later. She was very nice. She let me take a wheelchair. She was like,
Oh,
"It's
nice.
kind of," she was like, "It's kind of far. You're probably gonna want to use a wheelchair." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, thanks," because like my underarms are sore. And so get there, the guy's like, so what happened?" And I told him what happened, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna rush an X-ray." And I was like, "Cool." And so the X-ray woman comes. She scans my ankle. The doctor comes in after, and she's like, yeah, nothing's broken." She was like, "But let me see." She was like, "Where does it hurt?" And I showed her where it hurt. And then she literally spent a good like 2 minutes touching every part of my foot and be like, "Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Does
Mm-hmm.
this hurt?" And then when she like touched the parts that hurt, she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get another X-ray." And I was like, "Okay." And so I
Hmm.
got two X-rays. And then she was like, "Oh, yeah, so good news, nothing's broken. Bad news, you probably tore a ligament." And I was like,
Great.
great. That's probably why I can't walk."
Right.
So, yeah, for 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks, I'm not going to be able to walk. And so they're like, "Well, there's nothing we can do. It's just a torn ligament. Here's an ankle brace for compression." And I was like, "Okay."
Great.
And so they bring in the ortho guy to like put on the ankle brace and like show me how to use it.
Hmm.
He was not gentle
They
putting
never
this
are.
putting this thing on, and I was like, he was like, "Okay, here we go," and started pulling it up, and literally I gripped the side of my chair. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
but he got it on.
Yeah. But at what cost?
And so yeah, since it's my foot, there's nothing they can do, and so I just had
Hmm.
to wait for it to heal. Yay!
Do you have crutches or anything?
Yes, and I hate them.
Hmm.
I hate them with a burning passion. My underarms hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I think Aunt Rose has a wheelchair, and I think I might steal it.
Really?
Ugh. My house has like 20 stairs up.
Oh.
It took me like 5 minutes to get up the stairs.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This is your
So
life now.
it's my life for the next week or two or three.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Fun.
This is what I get for trying to exercise. Never
Yeah, I guess
again.
so.
I'm just gonna be fat. I can't.
This is your life.
It's my life.
No exercise.
No exercise. That's fine.
That's fine.
It's not much different than how it
Than
usually
usual.
is. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for me. So, Kelly, are you ready to start talking about
Ooh.
fear?
Ah. This is why I don't like ASMR stuff. Yes, I am ready to start this movie.
So, the movie starts off with Nicole Walker, and she's taking a shower and getting yelled at by her stepmom, Laura, to save the hot water for her dad. We then cut to her dad, Steven, running in the forest while drums are playing in the background, seemingly to try to make it seem like he's being chased.
Yeah, they made a lot of suspense for this moment.
Yeah, and he was literally just running.
Right.
Um, and so he gets home from the most intense run I've ever seen. He was running so hard.
Yeah, he was sprinting.
It was weird. Yeah, but anyway, he gets home. He's greeted by the family's German Shepherd Kaiser. And then while everyone is getting ready to leave, Stephen notices that Nicole is wearing a dress that he believes is inappropriate, even though it looked fine.
It was totally fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. She looked cute. Like, what's the issue here?
And she wore like a jacket over it. Like it was
Yeah,
fine.
right. Like maybe he didn't like the length of it, but
The length wasn't even bad.
right, it wasn't.
It was slightly below her knee. Like it was fine.
It was fine.
And then, so Laura, not Laura, yeah, Laura's
Nicole.
son, Toby,
Hmm.
asks Steven if he can take him to school. And he says no until Toby calls him dad. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. I think Toby did that on
He
purpose.
did it on purpose.
Yeah.
You're going to let a child manipulate you, but okay.
Yeah.
And so at school, Nicole and her friends, Margot and Gary, skip class. Did they skip class or were they leaving for lunch? Like, Nicole made it seem like they were skipping, but they were immediately going back after they got their food. So I was,
I think they were planning on skipping. Like it's their lunchtime, but I think they were gonna eat wherever they were, and then that would make them skip class.
mhm,
But Nicole's like, no, 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 let's just get it to go, so we don't have to miss class.
okay. Because I was confused on their plan. Whatever.
Yeah, same.
Either way, they go to a bar for some reason to
Is
get
it
the
a bar?
food. Was it not a bar? It looked like a bar.
But it didn't. It, it didn't really look like a bar. You know what I mean? It looked like a cafe kind of bar, to me at least. Because
Okay.
it looked
Okay.
like they had like the coffee machines on the bar. So to me, it looked like some like college cafe thing. I
Sure. We'll
don't
call it
know.
a cafe.
Yeah.
And it's like so busy for the middle of the day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Even if it is like a college town with like a college cafe, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be that busy.
Do you know how many classes I had that ran through lunch? Like,
Right.
okay.
Right. And maybe I would spend, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or an hour if I did have time in the morning to stay at a
Yeah,
cafe like that. It wouldn't be that long.
it would not be that long. And so not long enough to play a game of pool.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so at the cafe, Marco has her eyes on a man who looks like a combination of Mr. Miyagi and that wrestler, The Undertaker.
Yeah,
Um,
and he looks like he's 40.
yeah, he looks so old.
He's so greasy.
And then Nicole eyes a model-esque man.
Marky Mark.
And so Margot picks up a flyer for a party and invites Nicole, but she says she has a family outing. But on her way out, she smiles at the handsome man who is also holding a flyer for the party. Sometime later, Margot and Nicole are sitting by the pool and discussing whether or not being a model would be cool. That was a weird
It
conversation,
really was.
but yeah. And Margot again invites Nicole, but she says no. But when she gets picked up by her dad, she tries to talk her dad out of her going to the concert they're going to.
Yeah, because she saw James Taylor before.
Whoever that is.
You don't
And
know
then,
James Taylor?
no idea.
Oh, okay.
No idea. And then so he tells this sob story, and she's like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah, he guilt trips her into going.
But then immediately when they get home, he gets a call from work that says he needs to go to Vancouver
Yeah.
to meet a client. And it starts a fight between everybody in the house. And so Nicole, upset, is like, I'll go to the party with Margot.
Yeah.
They get to this party, and honestly, it looks like my worst nightmare.
Honestly,
I
though.
don't like people touching me. I don't like smoking, and I don't like overly loud music. I would,
Mm-mm.
I would hate it.
Yeah, I would take one step in and then be like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
we're out.
we're leaving.
We're out.
Honestly, the place looked like a fire hazard as well. So I was
It
like,
really did.
let's just go home. We'll order some pizza,
Right. We'll
watch a
just drink
movie.
in.
Yeah. And then so in this crowd of what looks like hundreds of people,
Yeah.
Margot happens to find the Mr. Miyagi man and goes to dance with him while Nicole like stands off in the corner.
Also, like first mistake, never leave your friend in a crowded bar like
Not a
that.
crowd, not a crowd that big.
Not that big. No, 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 no.
The fact that they ever saw each other again is
A miracle.
a miracle.
Because the second you let go of somebody in a place like that, you are never seeing them until maybe
Right.
the next day.
It was dark. There were hundreds of people
Right. It
there.
was loud, so
It
you
was
can't call
loud.
out to anybody.
This was like what, 1995? They didn't have cell phones.
Mm-mm.
Awful. And then so the handsome guy from the cafe comes up to her and flirts with her right before Margot's man starts a fight with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the handsome man helps Nicole out of the warehouse while a full-on riot starts.
Yeah.
Like they start destroying this place.
Yeah, I don't know what causes the riot.
Yeah, what was going on there?
Like, I don't know, somebody saw the violence and was like, more
More
violence. So they just start
violence.
like tearing things down and
Because
lunging at people.
I don't know why everyone got violent. When they got there, everyone was just making out with each other and
Right.
dancing like they were on ecstasy, and then all
Right.
of a sudden, just breaking everything. Wow. Okay, and then so they somehow climb onto the roof
Yeah.
and then go down the fire escape while Margot, and who we now know is named Logan,
Mm-hmm.
run off with a group of people. Margot's literally like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Like, who is this man you're running off with?
Right. Also, Nicole doesn't even mention Margot until she sees her.
Yeah,
Like that's kind of a sucky friend move. Like I feel like my first instinct would be like the minute it started was like, "Where's my friends?" You know?
right? If I had a friend that just did not even think of me when escaping, we would never be friends again.
Right.
Well, yeah, more
Anyway.
bad decisions are coming up.
Yes.
And so the handsome man then drives Nicole to a park and they talk while Laura is sitting at home wondering where the hell Nicole is.
How Nicole ever willingly got into a strange man's car, I will never
Yeah,
know.
who knows?
It doesn't like the hottest guy could come up to me and be like, say like two lines to me and be like, "Yeah, let's get in my car." I'd be like, "Absolutely not.
Who are you?
I value my life, okay? I am going nowhere with you. You are not getting me to a secondary location,
Yeah,
okay?
no. Especially not in the middle of nowhere.
Not in the middle of nowhere and in the middle of the night."
Yeah. And then 20 minutes into this movie, only after Nicole tells us his name did we learn that his name is David.
Yes.
We never see him tell her that his name is David.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Uh,
Also, I feel like this is the quietest part of the movie.
oh, absolutely. This was the part where I texted you and I was like, please put on some subtitles.
Yeah.
And then so when she says it's past her curfew, he moves her watch back as if that does something.
Right.
And then he makes out with her before she's like, no, but like, I really need to go home.
Yeah.
And so Nicole gets home 2 hours late, and Laura is so nice about it because
Uh-huh.
pretty much all she says is go to bed.
Yeah, and she calls her a slut.
Oh, I was just gonna get to that,
Yeah.
and then she screws it all up because she says that.
Yeah. Like it was fine. She had like the whole I'm upset, but I won't
Yeah,
talk to you about it until the next day. And then
yeah,
she screws it up by like and take off that makeup because you look like a slut. And I'm like,
yeah.
yo,
I was like, did you need to say that?
you really didn't.
You didn't need to say that.
Also, she had like zero makeup on, by the
Yeah,
way, by the looks of it.
she had like the minimal amount you need to be on a movie. That's how much
Yes.
makeup she had on.
Yeah. Like Laura, I understand you're the whole natural type girl. And like the minute you see any stitch of makeup on somebody, you're like, "Ugh, that's too much makeup." But you don't need to
Harlot.
be you don't need to be calling her names. She's a kid. Just be
Yeah.
nice.
And so maybe the next day, we time is irrelevant in this
Yeah.
movie.
Time is
Um,
irrelevant.
Steven gets home and he talks to Nicole about her being late, and there are essentially no repercussions,
No.
even when he knows that she was out by herself with some boy in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. He's just all like, she knows that she did something wrong.
Yeah, you know what she
I'm like,
gets?
does she?
You want to know what her punishment is? I'm
Mm-hmm.
using air quotes.
Yes.
She gets kitchen and yard duty for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's literally just chores.
Those are my regular chores.
Yeah, those are regular everyday things.
Those
Like
are, yeah. Uh, and then she doesn't even do them, but like we'll talk about that
she
later.
really doesn't.
Um, Stephen also wants her to apologize to Laura, but Nicole rightfully refuses.
Yeah, because she should apologize first. Laura should
Yeah,
apologize first.
she should.
She struck first.
And so that night, Nicole says that she went too easy. No, not Nicole. Laura.
Laura.
Sorry, wrote that wrong. That night, Nicole says that he went. I said it again. Wow. I can do it this time. I can do it.
It's an hour earlier than we're used to. Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
Now I can't speak.
That night, Laura says that he went too easy on Nicole, and then he brings up the fact that she called his daughter a slut, and then the conversation stops.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what was even the scene?
Right. Like he doesn't even fight back. He's just like, yeah, well, you
You
called my
called her
daughter
a
a slut,
slut,
so
and then they just stop talking.
yeah, they like look at each other and then like the scene ends and you're like, what?
Nothing was accomplished here.
Really though?
And so the next day, David picks up Nicole from school. How he knows where she goes to
How
school, who knows?
right. Mm.
And they go to the bar slash cafe, whatever it is, and play pool. And then there they see Margot making out with, what was that man's name? Because
Logan.
I wrote it wrong every single time. Logan, because I literally have Larry here.
I mean, they mention his name once and then they don't really use it ever again.
Yeah, so Margot's making out with Logan, and eventually Nicole and David go outside so that they can make out. After that first date, yes, first date, you hear me?
Yep. First date.
He says he wants to meet her family.
Yeah.
And so what does she do literally seemingly the next day?
Brings him home.
Brings him home.
Like the most that they've ever done together is play pool and make out.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
And scale a fire escape. Like that was it.
Right. Like there's one maybe scary like moment that bonds them together and then they talk once, they play pool and they make out. Just,
yay.
yay.
True love.
Also, right, this man knows she is a minor.
We never learned how old he is, but he's older than 18.
Yeah, he's older than 18. Like we kind of get that he's like, I'm taking a year off for like between college and stuff like that, and we're like, so you know she's a minor.
But we also know that he is a liar, so he could be 30 for all we know.
Right. This could be the orphan. He could be 35.
Gosh. A hot orphan.
Yes, a hot orphan.
And then so David meets the family. Everyone except for Steven loves him because Steven, just like me, very perceptive. He notices that David is one, flirting with other women too much, and two, is low-key demanding with his daughter.
Low-key.
Like when he said, "Get me a Coke," I would have been like, "Excuse me? Who are you talking to?"
Right. Like if I was Nicole, I would have said something, but if I was the dad, I would have been like, hold up.
I would have been like, where's your please?
Right. Like, where are you keeping all of that audacity? What is going on here?
Yeah, we don't talk to women like that in my house. No.
Absolutely not. Also, during the scene when David and Margot are in the dad's office, and Margot flirts with
full on
dad.
flirting. Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I would have been like, Margot, what are you doing?
Yeah, I would have been like, you're a child.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Gross. There's so many things just wrong in this movie.
And so, ow, crap. Ow.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. And so that night, Nicole, why did I write Steven? And David go on a date. To
different movie.
Was it a pier, an amusement park? What was it?
I was getting like carnival vibes.
But it had like a full-on roller coaster. That's why I didn't write carnival. I was like, they can't build a full-on roller coaster.
Maybe it's like a fair.
Sure, okay. And then so they go on a roller coaster, and then there's a scene that goes on way too long.
Yeah.
Of David putting his fingers up Nicole's skirt. It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. Especially since we know that Nicole is a minor.
Yeah, it just makes it so much worse.
Yes.
Jail.
And so at the house, Steven is trying to meet a deadline and notices that the clock in his office has been changed. Who do we know likes to change clocks? Yeah.
Anyway.
And so because of this, he has to go to Vancouver and decides to make it a romantic trip and take Laura.
Yeah.
Back at the pier, fair, amusement park, whatever.
Whatever.
While Nicole and David are playing carnival games, Larry, who is making out with
Larry?
Margot's Logan.
Okay.
I told you I wrote it wrong every single time. Logan, who is making out / dry humping Margot,
Yeah.
points at Nicole while he's doing it, and it freaks her out, but she says nothing about it.
Yeah. Also, what was the reason?
I have no idea.
Why?
Is that his way of saying, like, I want you? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was more threatening than anything else.
Yeah.
It felt threatening.
That honestly, the next day would have been a conversation with Margot. Would have been like, hey,
Right.
just like watch out for him.
Right. They're obviously not very good friends if they're
Yeah.
not looking out for one another.
They never look out for each other.
They really don't.
And then so the next day when her parents leave, Nicole invites David to sneak into the house so they can have sex. She gives him the house code and he sneaks upstairs and the two have sex.
Why she gave him the code to the house?
Yeah.
I will never know. Just let him in.
Yeah, just let him in. The only person in the house was your brother.
Right.
Who was asleep.
Mm-hmm. Just wait at the front door, and the minute you see his headlights, been like, oh my gosh, open the door. Don't give him that code to your house. What the?
Yeah. And can we talk about how ripped Mark Wahlberg is in this movie? Why?
Right.
Why?
What for?
What for?
Like, we already get it. He's a good-looking guy, but then you had to go and make him jacked like that?
Yeah,
like,
there was no reason for that.
Right.
And
like, there's only a few scenes when he has his shirt off.
Yeah.
What was the point? Like, he didn't have to be ripped.
He didn't. He really didn't. And then sometime later, Nicole tells her friend Gary that she had sex with David and not to tell Margot because she would make a big deal out of it.
She probably would.
She probably would. And so David sees them hug goodbye and then starts to beat the shit out of Gary.
Yeah, he goes to pick up Nicole. He sees them hug and then he goes ape shit. He jumps out of his car. He doesn't even use the door.
No.
He jumps out of his car and just decks
him in the back of the head and then he just starts kicking him.
Right. Like, homeboy.
And then David's so angry that he pushes Nicole down. And when she tries to stop him, and then she gets so upset and freaked out about this that she tells him to leave her alone.
As she should.
As she should.
That should have been the end of the movie.
Yep.
Like, never see him again. Roll the credits.
At home, Laura notices Nicole's black eye, but she says that she got it from volleyball.
How did she get the black eye, by the way?
I have no idea.
He pushed her.
I don't know how she got a black eye.
You can clearly see that he like takes her by the shoulders and just like pushes her back.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Nowhere near her face.
Yeah, but Laura believes this lie for some reason. Even though if it did happen at school, there would have been a note.
There would have been a note. She probably would have been taken to the nurse. They probably would have been like, hey,
hi,
Laura, your kid got socked in the face.
Anyone listening right now, I'm just gonna tell you, if your child comes home saying that something happened at school, you didn't get a note.
Yeah.
It probably didn't happen.
Yeah. Especially something physical like that.
Yeah.
Schools always have a record of that.
Yes. Yeah, and so Laura somehow believes this, and she helps her cover it up with makeup. And then back at the school, David overhears Nicole talking to Gary about how crazy he is.
Yeah, David is just chilling in her high school.
We'll talk about that later. But
like, how does this man get in this campus?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it later, but like, it's weird.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I know what I'll do to make her feel better. I'll write her a note and put it in her locker, asking her to meet me up somewhere.
Absolutely not.
Thank goodness she doesn't.
Right.
Yay.
Like that would have freaked me out more than anything. Like,
Yes.
how would he know which locker is
Right?
yours?
How do you know what my locker is? Why are you in my school?
Mm-hmm.
So many things are
Mm-hmm.
going through my mind at that moment.
Restraining order.
Absolutely. And then so that night at his house, he lays in his room sulking while his friends party, and I'm guessing sell drugs. Like it's kind of implied, but it's never like
Yeah.
flat out
Yeah,
said,
there's something illegal going on here. We just don't know what.
and we never learn.
Yeah, and we never know.
And then so the next day, Nicole gets a present delivered to her house, but immediately throws it away.
Good for her.
And then her parents hear her crying that night, so Laura and Stephen go to talk to her. She tells them about what David did, but continues to lie about how she got her black eye. Um, and then Stephen also finds a condom wrapper on Nicole's floor and finally starts to parent his child.
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, but it's too late for his parenting because
Yeah.
she thinks she's a full-on adult now,
Mm.
and he pretty much ends up pushing them back together
Well, yeah. Yeah, she
because
does the whole, oh my gosh, my parents are being like are ragging on me. I got to do exactly the opposite of what they're telling me.
yeah,
Like,
so
no.
she goes back to the trash can where the what we learned is flowers
Mm-hmm.
are, and there's like a little envelope and it has a picture of her and David, and like she keeps it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh no,
Mistake.
Steven, you done messed up.
Yeah, you don't messed up.
And then so is it the next day? The time is not making sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, either way, this whole scene like pissed me off. So she's hanging out with Margot by the
Yeah,
pool,
this sucks.
and Margot tells her that hitting is just how some men say they love you. Margot,
Oh, honey.
therapy.
Yeah,
Therapy is needed.
straight to therapy.
I get your mom is a gold digger and you don't really
Yeah,
have that big of a influence, a positive influence in your
right.
life, but
Right.
do you not see the terrible things your mother is probably going through?
Right. That's not
Not
normal.
normal.
No.
No.
No, anybody hits you. Get out.
I literally wrote that.
Yeah.
I literally wrote that in here. I was like, no one should be hitting you.
Yeah, absolutely nobody. Like it doesn't matter who they are to you. Somebody
Yeah.
hits you, you get out of
If
there.
they hit you once, leave
Yeah,
them.
you get out of there.
Yeah. No.
Like she's like, it's their asshole way of saying they love you and they didn't mean to hit you. Like, uh-uh.
No, let's not do that.
Mm-mm, no, no, no.
And then while they continue this awful conversation, oh, I read it right this time.
Logan.
David, and a bunch of their friends come by, and Nicole tries to leave, but David stops her and begs for forgiveness, and she gives it to him because you know she can't say no to his whispers.
Something about you know what? She probably can't hear him. So she's doing the polite thing of instead of
Yeah,
saying, "What did you say?" She just goes, "Yeah, okay,
yeah,
sure."
okay. Next thing she knows, he's hugging her. She's like, "Whoa, what's
Exactly. She's like,
happening?"
"Wait, what? Okay, maybe he just said he needed a hug. Okay."
And so Stephen gets home from work and sees David swimming in his pool with his wife, his kids, his dog, and he's shook. He's like, what is he doing here?
Yeah, no.
And then Laura, who seems to have no solid beliefs, because at the beginning of this movie, she stated that Nicole had too much freedom and needed to be disciplined. But now she's like, let her date David.
Right, right. She's like, at least she's not sneaking around. Like, no. That's not what he
No,
meant at all.
no.
Also, like the way Laura's like, yeah, David's actually a good guy. Maybe you're just being too hard on him. Why is everyone excusing his actions? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Stephen is the only rational one in this movie.
Honestly, and everyone's just ragging on him for it.
He's like, I don't want this grown man dating my daughter. And everyone's like,
Right.
why?
Right. Like, they're like, I don't see a problem with it. And they're like, there's
Mm,
multiple problems with this.
yeah. What I really think is happening here is that Laura probably has a crush on David, and that's why she's overseeing everything that's happening.
Probably. Also, this is where I put this is the orphan because literally there's only one person that sees the bad and what's going on here, and no one's listening.
Exactly. And then so Steven has David's background looked into and learns that he grew up in foster homes and in institutions. He has no family, no work history, or like anything else. And I'm like, that's suspicious. And then so he's like, I'm gonna tell my wife because it's weird, right? And Laura's
Yeah.
like, so what?
Right. She doesn't see what's wrong with it. Like I understand her saying that it's not his fault for being in the foster care system.
Right? But I'm like,
That's totally right. But
but I'm
everything else,
right. I'm like, he has nothing on his files. Like, that's not
right.
weird to you.
Right. Like does that not like the things that he said to you before of him taking a break before going to school again, like and him
Yeah.
having no work history?
Yeah, that's
Like does
weird.
that not trigger anything
How
in your
does he
head?
have this car in this house if he doesn't have work history?
Exactly. Where is the money coming from?
Yeah. So what I think is he needs to break up with Laura. But I'll talk more about
Yeah.
it later.
Yeah.
Um, and so he sees David picking up his daughter one day. He's like, I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tells him that he does not want him to see Laura anymore.
Good for him.
And in return, David says some truly horrific things.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven does nothing about it. Like, literally, he gets called the F slur,
Yeah.
told about how he was sucking on his daughter's titties,
Yeah.
and how he's a failure at work, and how his wife would rather sleep with him.
Yeah. And he just takes it.
He just stood there and took it. He was like, just leave my family alone.
Right.
I
Like
would I would have had to murder David because
exactly.
there's no comeback I could think of that would be strong enough. I would
Yeah.
have to murder him.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing I could have said or done that would have made my message more clear
Yeah.
than just straight up ending him. Like, no. He disrespected you and your family, and
Mhm.
like you just took it and then it was just like, leave my daughter alone. Like, no wonder he didn't take you seriously.
Yeah.
You didn't fight back.
And then so after Steven leaves, David starts pumping on his chest like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And he causes a bruise and tells Nicole that Steven created it.
Yeah. And we never see the scene, by the way. We just
No.
Nicole just like comes into the house and was like, Dad, oh my gosh, you beat him.
Yeah. And then she gets so upset that she runs off with him in the middle of the night. Um, and so the two of them go out in the woods and they like make out for like a couple hours. Like, I don't know what's
Yeah, I
happening.
don't yeah.
But later that night, she's like, take me home, David. And
Yeah.
so he drops her off at the front door and she realizes that she's too scared to go home, but David's already gone. So she goes into her car
Mm-hmm.
and drives to David's house.
Eesh.
Yay.
Yay.
At the house, David is having a party, I guess.
Yeah, or that's just a normal night for them. I don't
Oh, I sure hope not.
right.
So um Laura goes up to the window, I guess.
I thought it was the front door.
Was it?
I thought so.
Whatever it was. And she sees Margot having sex with Logan in the middle of the
Of the
room,
room.
and then sees David walk up, what she thinks is whisper something into Margot's ear, and then they go upstairs and have sex.
Yeah.
In reality, he forced her to have sex
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she doesn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. She did not go willingly. There was nothing
No.
consensual about this.
No, there was not.
At all.
And so the next morning, so no, that night she goes back home.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next morning, Steven finds a note on his door saying sorry.
Right.
And then he goes in Nicole's room and she's like, I'm too sad to talk. and they just let it go. And
Yeah, they literally just let it go.
I'm like, there are several conversations that need to be had.
Like,
Several.
I get that she probably needs her space at that moment, but you come back later.
Yeah, we're coming back to
You
this.
come back.
Like you get 12 hours to cry, but like
Right.
we're gonna have a conversation.
Right. I'll feed you during those 12 hours, but the next day, you bet we're having that conversation.
Yeah. And then so at school, while Nicole and Gary are eating lunch, David comes in and Nicole causes another scene at her school
Yeah.
until
Which,
David leaves. And then this is the point where I had to write it. I was like, at what point does the school administrators say enough is enough and that this grown man can't be on campus anymore?
right.
This is
Like,
the second time they've had an incident with David.
yeah. Yeah. Like the first time should have been the last time because he beats up a
Yes.
student
Yes.
and he gives the another student a black eye for pushing them down. Like,
Yes.
and then this one is happening during the middle of the day in front of everybody, and no one throws a fit or anything.
Yeah, no one seems to care.
Right. Like, none of the other students even question it either.
No.
Like, a school that small, and it looked kind of small, everybody would have known about David
Everyone would have known.
and what happened between Gary and Nicole. Like, come on now.
Okay. And then so later, Margot comes by Nicole's house, wondering why she hasn't been taking her calls.
Oh, and Margot makes a lewd joke towards Toby, by the way.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, even if I wasn't mad at Margot, I'd have been like, don't say that.
Yeah, I would have been like, get out.
Please get out of
That's
my house.
super inappropriate.
And so Nicole tells her that she knows what happens and that they are no longer friends.
She doesn't know what happened though.
Yeah, because Margot tries to explain that he forced her, but like
Yeah.
Nicole is like not listening.
Yeah, Nicole just thinks they slept together and I don't want anything to do with either of you. Like,
Yeah, and then so while Margot is driving home, she's almost run off the road by David.
I thought he was gonna kill her,
I
dude.
thought he was too. And then he literally like pulls her out of the car and is like, you better fix it or I will hurt you. And
Yeah.
then when he walks back to his car while she's like crying, he's like, shut up, you liked it. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, I was ready to murder that man myself.
And then so David's crazy ass then proceeds to go to Nicole's house and try to talk to her. Luckily, Steven opened the door and he was like, no, and shut the door in his face.
Right. As he should.
As he should. David then goes home and proceeds to carve Nicole forever into his chest with pens.
Yeah, with a pen.
At that moment, do you not stop and think, what am I doing?
Right. Like, maybe, like, it was too far the moment he started carving. Like, yeah, that was not necessary.
Maybe this 16-year-old girl isn't worth it.
Right. Maybe there's somebody else you can go creep on. Like, I would pray that this man never interacts with another woman.
Woman ever.
But at least make it somebody not 16.
Or maybe he just needs a girl who like matches his crazy. Like maybe that's what he needs.
Right. But what he really needs is jail and therapy. But
yes,
you can't in this movie.
A team of therapists, if you may.
Yeah.
And so the next day at school, David watches Nicole hug Gary. And after school, he chases Gary down and breaks his neck with his bare hands.
Yeah.
It was traumatizing.
Yes, it was. And this man is delusional.
Also, not to victim blame. Like, I'm not trying to. It's just a question. If you're being chased by someone, why would you run deeper into the woods?
Yeah.
Just a question.
Yeah. We're just wondering.
Just wondering. Like, I know, like, your fight or flight, like, turns on. But, like...
Right. But wouldn't you be trying to run towards help?
Yeah. Towards help. Seems right.
Just a question.
So, that wasn't fun. But, meanwhile, Steven walks out of work and he sees that his car is smashed. And there's a note that says, now I've smashed both of your cherries. And he immediately goes looking for David. And honestly,
Yeah.
same.
Same.
After that,
Right.
after first what he said to me and then that note, he would have to die. Like there is
Mm-hmm.
no, like he literally
Also,
has to die now.
why did he not call the police at this point? Because
Look,
at this
look,
point, you have proof.
we said that Steven was the most rational person, but
Yeah.
like
It's
compared to the others,
yeah. Yeah, he's the most rational, but there's a point that he
er,
reaches.
yeah,
Yeah. Like I would have called the cops because you have proof. There's a
yeah,
note, and I'm sure there's security cameras in that parking
and
lot.
that, yeah, it has to be. And so while at the mall, Laura, Toby, and Nicole are like hanging out, and Nicole goes to the bathroom. Fine.
Yeah.
And it's followed by David, who grabs her and tells her that they will be together forever.
Yeah.
And then there's a woman in the bathroom and she does absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
She doesn't even check to see if Nicole is okay. Like she
Nope.
just stops.
Nope. She's like, this is definitely not my business,
Not my
and
business.
stays firmly in her lane.
And then Stephen calls Margot, finds out where David lives, and finds a picture of David with his family, what I'm guessing are a pair of Nicole's underwear,
Yeah.
and like a wristlet. Was that what that was?
Yeah, a little bracelet.
Yeah. That says David's girl. And he goes ballistic and like pretty much tears the house apart.
Mm-hmm.
So David and his friends get home and they see that the house is wrecked. So they decide to go to Nicole's house, kidnap Nicole, and kill her whole family as revenge.
Yeah.
That's logical, right?
That's the next logical step.
That's the next logical step.
Mm-hmm.
And so that night, Margot comes over to Nicole's and she tells her that they found Gary dead in the woods, beaten to death, but he wasn't beaten to death.
He was not, or maybe they just didn't show it.
Maybe.
Like after the fact, like he broke his neck and then just beat him.
I mean, the neck crack was traumatizing enough. I don't need to see you
Yeah,
mutilate a corpse. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we don't need to see the overkill. That's fine.
Oh my gosh, I forgot I did this. Okay. I forgot I did this. So I got a little bored, so I started like thinking of like ridiculous names for David's friends. So here we go.
Right.
So the little rascals show up and
That's actually really funny.
yeah, they show up to the Walker residence after cutting the phone lines and beheading the poor innocent Kaiser for no reason.
Bruh, that was the line.
It gave me nightmares.
Yeah. Like at that point, I was just all like, you know what? I probably know what's going to happen here. Maybe I can just end the movie.
But why did they kill that dog? There was no reason to kill that dog.
There was no reason. Like, what was he gonna do?
Who knows?
And poor Toby.
Yeah.
Poor Toby. He had to see it.
Yeah. Toby had to go through a lot that night.
Yeah. They all need therapy.
Yeah, so they're all outside of the house. But all is well, though, because the house is locked with their security system. But remember, Nicole gave David the code.
Yeah.
And so Stephen grabs the door just in time and recloses it. And then David finally speaks at a human decibel and demands to be let into the house.
Finally, with the last like 30 minutes.
Before he and his gang of Havens try to like break open the door and the windows.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. So Steven turns out all the lights and makes all the kids go hide in Nicole's room. And then he and Laura use like the refrigerator and like a whole bunch of other stuff to like
like anything in arm's reach to bar the door.
Yeah. And like to keep the guys from coming in through the windows.
Yeah.
And then so while they're upstairs in Nicole's room, what's his name? Toby notices a guy trying to like climb up the window.
Mm-hmm.
And so Nicole uses an umbrella. Was that what it was?
I think so. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, she like punctures through the glass and like knocks
Mm-hmm.
him down.
Mm-hmm.
And then David is downstairs trying to use an axe to break open the door,
Hmm.
while Nicole is flashing lights in her room to alert the security guard.
Yep.
When the security guard comes to check out the house, he like pulls one over on David, who is trying to be like, I'm just here to visit my girlfriend.
Right.
But he clocks him. He's like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't trust you.
Yeah.
But then
Also,
he gets
like,
shot.
do they live in a gated community or is the guard just for their house?
It seems like it's just for their house.
Okay. Because I was like, now that I think about it, they don't have neighbors,
They
not
don't
from
have
what we can
neighbors.
tell.
It
And
seems
I'm
like
like,
it's just for their house.
okay.
I would love to be that rich one day.
Right. To live in the middle of the woods and have your own gate with its own security.
Yeah. But yeah, the security guard gets shot,
Yeah.
and then they kidnap Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. So they walk up to the door and they tell Laura, let us in or we'll kill Steven.
Mm-hmm.
And then Laura's dumbass decides to put everyone else in danger and let them
Yep.
inside the house.
Yeah.
Immediately after this, I would divorce Laura because honestly, she's been doing wrong this entire movie.
Right. Like Steve, he tells her, like, just don't let me in. Just protect everybody else. And she's like, nah. Nope.
Yeah, she's like, what? What do you mean? No, I'm going to let them in here with the children.
Ugh.
They're obviously trying to kill us. I'm just going to let
Mm-hmm.
them in the house.
It's fine. I won't put up a fight anymore. It's okay.
Because there's no way they won't kill you anyway when I let you in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll keep their word.
Yeah, they'll
I
keep
know
their
they
word.
will.
And so they all come inside the front door, and Toby sneaks out through his bedroom window or something like that, so that he can go to Laura's car phone and call the cops.
Yeah.
And so to turn on the car phone, Toby has to turn on the car, which alerts his presence to one of David's bubble buddies. So he runs, and so he gets shot at.
Yes.
And so the only logical thing, good for you, Toby.
Yeah, good for you, Toby.
He runs the man over.
Yeah, good for him.
Meanwhile, ooh, caught myself. Logan goes upstairs.
You mean Larry?
It literally does say Larry on here. Logan goes upstairs and he starts attacking Margot and Nicole. They try to fight him off, but like he's like a 40-year-old man. Like it's not working.
Yeah, he's like twice their size anyway.
Yeah. So Toby sneaks back into the house and unties Laura while David takes Steven upstairs to kill him in front of Nicole after he shoots Logan in the head.
Louis?
Shut up. After he shoots Logan in the head for touching Nicole.
Yeah.
And so Nicole begs David not to kill her father.
Mm-hmm.
While Laura is in the background untying Steven.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steven gets untied. He tries to attack David, but he's knocked down. And he's about to be shot again, but then Nicole stabs him in the back with something, whatever that was.
I think it was the peace pipe that he won her at the fair. I don't know what a peace pipe is, but that's what he called it from what I remember.
I'll go with whatever you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't look sturdy enough to stab somebody, but she does anyway.
Yeah, she does it. And then he seems perfectly fine after he gets stabbed. But yeah. And so David and Steven then start smashing each other into the walls.
Yeah.
Before Steven literally throws David out the window like 50 feet, and he lands on some rocks and dies.
I don't know why, but his death was kind of funny.
It was funny.
Because it was just ridiculous, because he gets thrown out of the window and he like flips like twice and then he lands on the ground. But when he lands on the ground, they use like a
crunching sound.
The general like splattering crunching sound that they use for every movie. And for some reason, it just made me laugh. Because it's all he like hits the ground. It's like splat. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
and then the movie and then like everyone embraces and then we end with like a shot of like the police investigating.
finally.
Quick question, why did they have a diving team? I didn't understand that. I was like, why is there a diving team? Like he didn't land in the water. No
Is he
one went
still alive and he ended up back in the water?
no one went in the water.
Yeah, no one went in the
Why
water.
was there a diving team?
They probably wanted to make it super dramatic. So
Sure, a man getting thrown out the window is not dramatic
not
enough.
dramatic enough.
Uh okay, are you ready for the movie facts?
Yes, I am.
There's quite a few. So first one. During the movie, anytime David or Nicole say I love you to each other, the other one never says it back.
True.
Yay! Healthy relationships.
Healthy relationships.
Leonardo DiCaprio put in a good word for his friend / co-star Mark Wahlberg to the director after working with him on a movie called The Basketball Diaries. Never heard of it.
Oh.
And then so the director and Wahlberg spent the entire day hanging out and discussing the part before he told Wahlberg that he liked him, but he wasn't going to consider him for the role.
Dang.
But he let him audition to be one of David's friends and was impressed enough that he cast him as David. He was so impressed that he said that he would not make the movie if Wahlberg didn't play David.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Oh, I was like, okay.
All right.
Gary's character was explicitly mentioned as being gay in the script, making David's outburst even more bizarre. Yeah, but this was dropped from the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So that's why everybody was like, it's just Gary. Like, that's why. But like, they
okay.
never told us. Okay.
Yeah, but they never go into it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
And
right.
then Mark Wahlberg improvised the line where he screamed, "Let me in the fucking house." But it was like scrapped. It was initially scrapped.
Okay.
It was supposed to be left in as a gag reel.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but the director added it back into the movie. And apparently it's one of the most quotable lines in the movie.
Because that's the only line you can actually hear from him.
Yeah. And so yeah,
That's kind of funny.
that's it. Is the movie iconic?
I'm gonna say no.
I agree.
Because I just these movies, they just trigger me so much, and it just makes me want to just kill the main characters all the time.
Look,
this isn't like a movie that like you can watch over and over again.
Oh no.
It's just like you watch it once and you're like, never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Look, if the acting was better, maybe this could have been iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe if it was fleshed out a little more.
Yeah, if some
I feel like
things
a
were
lot of
explained
things,
more.
right? Some things were just cut out, or they were like talked about but never shown. So like, you as an audience, you were kind of confused.
Yeah, and then like no one was giving a good acting performance except for Reese Witherspoon and weirdly enough, Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, they really killed it. Like everyone else was kind of just
like, how bad is the acting in your movie if Melissa Milano is one of the top acting people in it?
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's not even bad iconic either, because it's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's a pretty good movie.
But it's not a great movie.
Yeah, but it's not a great movie. It's not, we can't label it good iconic. It's just a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
So do you have any recommendations for this week?
I do. I only have one this week.
Okay.
And it is Smash, the TV show.
Oh,
I finally watched it.
Yay!
I finished the first season. I am 2 episodes into the second, but really good.
Okay.
So go watch it.
Yeah, please do. I like that show.
It's a good show.
I've watched it like twice.
Also, I would love if they just actually made Bombshell into a musical. Just can y'all just please?
See, in theory, it would be great, but like in actuality, it would be so expensive, so
Yeah.
exhausting for whoever had to play Marilyn. Like,
Yeah, because if you listen to the cast recording, there's a lot of just Marilyn songs.
yes,
by
so many,
herself.
so many.
So either they would need a
so
lot of
many,
dialogue in between to give like
a break,
whoever played Marilyn a break.
or they'd have to have like two people playing Marilyn.
Yeah, or they'd have to have two people playing Marilyn.
There's so many high energy songs.
Yeah, there's a reason why in opera you have a main who shows up and sings maybe twice because their songs are so big.
Yeah.
And theatrical that you can only have the energy to do two.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really high one. So they'd have to do like two. They'd have to have like Marilyn Monroe and then like they do in the TV show where they have like Karen as the understudy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love it if it was musical. The songs are a bop. The songs are so good.
Let's see. So my recommendations, my first one, I hinted this to Kelly. Yes. I really hope she knows this. Ooh. It's Beyonce's In the Club remix.
In the Club remix. I know this.
The 50 Cent song. You can find me in the club.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Beyonce has a remix of it.
She has a remix?
Look it up on YouTube. You'll love it. It's a great song.
Oh, is it only on YouTube? Is it not on Spotify?
Yeah, you can't find it on Spotify.
Okay. Lit.
And then my second one is Reba. Love that show. I'm almost done with Grey's Anatomy. So can't wait to watch Reba. Can't wait. Love Reba. Used to watch it when I was little. Love it.
Same. My mom did a rewatch of it at the beginning of quarantine last year.
Good for her.
It's fresh in my mind.
Good for her. Love Reba.
Reba's so good.
Great opening track. Honestly. Love that song. But yeah, it's on Hulu. Like if you want to watch it for anybody. So watch it.
And if you haven't seen Reba, like
go watch some Reba.
Go watch some Reba. It's good TV show.
It's good TV. Mm-hmm. But that's it for this week. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We have a Twitter and Instagram. They're both at SYTYI Podcast. Or you could go listen to old episodes on YouTube. I just uploaded The Roommate. Fun listening to that again.
You get to relive.
Yeah, I get to relive everything.
The greatness that was The Roommate.
Oh, great movie. 5 stars.
Yeah, we labeled it iconic.
Yeah, it's great when they completely abandon a part of the movie that they were advertising. Yay!
I mean, at least you'll know the cast.
Yeah, you'll know the cast.
You'll know the cast for sure.
You'll know the cast. Also, you can send us some movie stories or movie requests to our email, sytyipodcast@gmail.com. Share us with your friends and your family. They'll love this.
Yes, they will.
If they like nonsense, they'll love us.
Yeah, if they like movies and slowly declining sanity as the dialogue.
And physical health, apparently.
Yeah, and physical health, apparently. Then you found the podcast for you.
Yes. And if you have, you can subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you listen on. Mm-hmm. Also, you should give us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts. It would really help us out.
Yes, please.
Also, forget what the CDC is saying. Still wear your mask.
The date is coming, isn't it?
It's coming. It's June. I mean, I think for the rest of the country, like they've already stopped. But California, it's June 15th.
Are we the last state?
I think so, because like in Florida, they legit are not wearing masks anymore.
Have they ever?
Yes. Yes. Question mark?
Question mark. Very big question mark.
I literally saw a video on TikTok of somebody at Universal Studios and like no one was wearing a mask. And I was like, how are y'all not freaking out?
Yeah. And I've seen one of the people we know in Vegas,
Oh,
and
yeah. Nobody was worried about us.
I was just the amount of people freaked me out. But
Yeah.
then seeing everything, I was like,
Yeah. I was like, you're so close to each other.
like,
Uh,
just my social anxiety speaking. I'm like, that's a lot of people. And
oh
then I
yeah.
realize what's going on. I'm like, that's a lot of people.
The amount of drunk I'd have to be okay with that, I wouldn't be able to walk. So
Yeah, you'd be flat out somewhere.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, continue wearing your mask, continue
Mm-hmm.
washing your hands,
Yeah,
soap and water, 20 seconds,
please.
use a paper towel to open the door, all of that
Rub it
jazz.
up dub, guys.
Rub it up in the tub. And stay iconic.
Stay iconic, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.